What is up, YouTube? Today we will be making some filet mignons. That's how I say it. You can say it anyway, but this will be a nice steak video, and this is gonna be a really easy steak, and you're gonna taste it, and it's gonna taste great, and you're gonna make it taste like it was made by the best chef in the world, just because of the seasonings. And if you cook it the correct way, it's really good. So you do want some garlic butter, but right now we're gonna season it. So get some Worcestershire sauce, or Worcestershire sauce, however you want to say it, some salt, and some pepper. And so I'm gonna get the steaks opened up here. Now, you want your steaks to be out for about 30 minutes. So once you take them out, you're gonna want to season them about 30 minutes early. So you want to take your fillets, got them both right here, and just what I do is I'm gonna take the Worcestershire, and I'm just gonna open this up here and just throw some on each side here, rub it in a little bit, then flip, get some on here, rub it in a little bit, then flip, and then you want to just get some of all those sides, and then do the same with the next one. And get that all seasoned up there. Now you're gonna move on to your salt, and you're just gonna season all the sides evenly with your salt. Now that I'm done with the salt, I'm gonna move on to the pepper. And it's just nothing too fancy, just salt, pepper, and Worcestershire. You want the steak to look about like that, and you just want it seasoned with the Worcestershire and the salt and pepper, and then you're gonna let it sit for about 30 minutes. Alrighty, now that we got our steaks and they've been sitting, we want to take a pan, a decent sized pan. I'm going to be making green beans and twice baked potatoes with this, but I'm only going to work on the steaks right now. So now that we got our pan, we want to make sure we get our butter and stuff ready. I'm going to be using some tongs to flip the steaks and stuff, and then now I have a lot better meat thermometers than this, but something like this will do, and you just want to get your temperature all right. So I'm going for medium rare, so I'm going to take it off at about like 120, 125, and let that rest for a little bit, and let that steak cook all the way through. But into this pan, we are going to take some oil. I'm going to use some vegetable oil. You want enough to where you can get a nice crust on that steak, which is what I like. So I'm just going to toss some in there. That's good. And I'll throw in just a tad bit more. That's good. Alright, now that we got the oil in there, we're going to turn the heat up. I'm using a gas stove, so it's different. So I'm gonna put it onto medium right about now and let this oil heat up, and then when I'm ready, I'm gonna put the steak on at about medium low, and then I'm gonna put the steak to low. Alright, now once that oil's heated up enough, I'm gonna turn the heat down just about, I'm gonna do it down to low because this stove does get hot. So I'm gonna take my steak and I'm just gonna place it on away from me. Well, I have the tongs, so it's gonna be harder, but just set it in carefully. And now this oil's really hot, but that's a good amount. That's gonna calm down for a second. Now, since this oven gets really hot, the oil does pop a decent amount, and it's also a little bit of the oil. I would use like olive oil, vegetable oil. That's what I'm using right now is vegetable oil, but I prefer olive oil. It helps with the sear, in my opinion, and it's a lot better when it's heated up. So now we're gonna let the steak sit on this oil. You want enough to where you get a crust. You're gonna let it sit on there until it gets a nice crust. Once you get a decent crust on that side, you're gonna flip the steak over. Once you get a decent crust on your steak, you're gonna wanna flip it over now, which is what I'm gonna do. Get it away from me. Now the crust isn't bad. Now I'm just gonna flip it over and let it sear on that side for a second. Once it's been searing for a second, so I'm gonna use 2 garlic butters, just 2 little slabs of garlic butter. I'm gonna throw one in the oil, and I'm gonna throw one on the steak. Now, while they move around, I'm just gonna move this one around in the pan a little bit, let it melt. And the one on the steak, I'm just gonna kind of pick up and I'm gonna brush it over the top. And then, once I get it nice and buttery on the top over here, I'm gonna throw the rest of this one in the pan too. All right, once all that butter is melted, you're gonna tilt the pan away from you, and you're just gonna get that butter, and you're gonna bring it over the top of your steak, and you're just gonna baste it with that butter, like I'm doing right now. You can't really see. So you want it tilted about like this, and take the butter. And you just want to baste it like that. Once you've basted that side well, you just want to make sure, check for that crust. And if it's not to your liking, you just want to let it sit for a little bit now and let it gain that crust up. Once you got that crust looking nice on that other side, I'm going to flip it back over. And I'm just going to start to baste the other side that was face down, just like we did before. And after you've basted it for about now, I would want to take the temperature of your steak. Like I said, I'm going for medium rare, so I'm gonna go for about 120. Once you got that steak to the temperature you want it, you're just gonna take it off the heat, and then you're gonna move it onto a plate and let it rest for a little bit. Alrighty, we got both the steaks off now. Time to cut into one of them. It's been resting for a little bit. Just let it sit for a second. Let's cut right into it. Oh my goodness. Now that is what you call a perfect steak. All right, let's give it a try. This is going to be one good fillet. Cut the fillet right here. Now that is perfect. Don't forget to try this recipe. Trust me, you will enjoy it.